Hey, welcome back, you bums. This is part 2 of understanding and analyzing the actual LVO tournament itself. We're going to start off right where we left off. So we were going to go right into Shyish. This is round 1. However, before we do that, we're going to make another stop by hidden agendas. Okay, so you get 3 points for having a hidden objective, with a maximum of earning 12 points for that round. So to win the tournament, to get the top 8, not only do we need to be undefeated, but we have to score high. The way we're going to do this is we're going to get our hidden agenda, right, that we can reliably always get. So the Flesh Eater Court player, he got it every single round. 5 rounds in a row, he got all of his hidden objectives, and he got his major wins. So you just need to pick one that you're most likely to get, right? And you're not trying to deny your opponent a hidden objective. Okay, so if you get a minor win, your opponent gets a minor loss, right? And then if he got his hidden objectives at 6 points, you're at 9. So he can't overtake you on points. There's never a time where he can overtake you on points. If you got a major win, he got a major loss, obviously. You know, if you both got a draw, you go down to who killed more stuff, and then it gets bumped to a minor win, okay? Or a minor loss. So we don't care about stopping our opponent from getting their hidden objective. We only want to get our own. Okay, so now you know that if you have an army like Flesh Eater Courts that can easily get any of these objectives, he's going to pick one that he can best get against his matchup and get those 3 points. If you have an army that is trying to do something very specific and has very little leeway in doing extra stuff, you're going to have a very hard time in getting your hidden objective. But Flesh Eater Court's very easy. It's just a bunch of resilient dudes all in one. And you could probably have a good idea as to what he may have picked. I'm going to assume that you're an intelligent being as well and not a bum like me, and you'd already have a good idea of what he would pick every round. So next up, Shyish, Realm of Death. This is round 1. I'm only going to go through round 1. I'm not going to go through every single round. That way you can continue to your own analysis. So I'm finishing up my analysis, and then you'll be able to continue where I left off in your own time. Because ain't nobody got time for that. Alright, Realmscape features Shyish. The Baron Moorland, this Realmscape feature has no effect on the battlefield, so at least that's not going to do anything. In other rounds, you have every step is a league. You actually have things that change the battle, you know, how the battle is going to be fought. Real realm commands. You can use the following command abilities in battle fought in this realm, in addition to the command points that you are normally allowed to use. Honor the dead. The dead are honored by the living. I don't care about that. You can use this command ability at the start of any combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly unit that is within 3 inches of a friendly hero or 12 inches of your general, and roll a dice. If the dice roll is less than the number of models that have been slain from the unit you picked, you can add 1 to the attack's characteristic of weapons used by that unit in the combat phase. So, you're not going to use this right off the bat. You're going to use this sort of mid or late game. If you have a unit of 10 guys and you lost 3 guys, and you roll less than the number of models that have been slain, so if you roll a 1 or a 2, you can add 1 to the attack's characteristic. So, if you're not paying attention, now this is why Bill is so good, is because he paid more attention to all these different things. Now, I'm not saying he did use this. I'm saying he absolutely could have used this. So near the end of the end of the tournament, end of that battle round, end of that round, and he's in turn 4 or 5 or something like that, and he had a unit of crypt gas, or those little tiny little crypty dudes, and he lost 7 of them. Suddenly that little remaining unit of dudes can get him those extra points he needs, because now they got extra attacks. He's going to kill those, couple liberators or whatever that's standing on a point and score that objective and then get that major victory. So those instances is what matter. Soul Force Sacrifice. You can use this command ability at the end of your hero phase. If you do so, pick a friendly unit that was in 3 inches of your general. Allocate any number of wounds to that unit you wish. You can heal 1 wound that has been allocated to your general. So our general is a giant guy on Terrorgeist if you're thinking about Flesh Eater Court, or a giant Celestant on a Star Drake if you're thinking about, Stormcast Eternals, which there were the most lists of any other, so 18 lists of Stormcast Eternals in the whole tournament. You can nuke one of your own units, and then boom, you heal your general up. So it's pretty sweet. Sometimes you really need that general to be alive for special effects to last that current turn or future turns. Especially if you have any objectives that require a hero to stand on top of it, right? So it's not this one, but anything else. But so I guess I don't know why I said that then, because whatever. If you need your general to stay alive, you can do that. And your opponent, if he doesn't know this, and you're like, well, I would have been fine. I would have gotten a major victory if, I would have won that game if my general stayed alive. Well, you had that option. Check that out. It's pretty cool, huh? Realm Sphere Magic. Now, wizards know the following spells in battles fought in this realm in addition. So if you have a wizard that already knows his normal 3 spells, Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and whatever spell he knows, and then his little whatever from your book or whatever. So your wizard knows 4 spells. Well, now suddenly he knows 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He knows 11 spells now. So if every freaking round is like this. So you're going to want to bring wizards. And you're not going to only want to bring wizards, but you want to bring good wizards, right? So if you brought good wizards to this tournament, suddenly you have huge amounts of options every turn about what that wizard could cast. So Pall of Doom, cast value 6. Successfully cast. Pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster that is visible to them. Subtract 2 from the bravery characteristic of the unit you picked into your next hero phase. That's so good against something like Disciples of Tzeentch. They have low bravery. You're going to subtract 2 from their bravery, and while playing Flesh Eater Courts, and your lighting says, well, roll 2d6, and then subtract, and the difference between your roll and your opponent's bravery is the damage you did. Oh my gosh! That's so good! Or if you're on a Terrorgeist, 6 plus roll a d6, and the difference does mortal wounds based on their bravery. Well, your opponent's bravery is -2! And you're in the realm of Shyish, so if they're in a terrain feature, they're getting around -1. Alright? So that's so good. So, where is that? Round 1. Shyish. Within terrain feature. They have Sinister. Sinister means they're going to get a -1. Now I get they add 1 bravery characteristic to all units. That's cool. So it's not going to be so good if they're out in the open, but it's going to be negated by Haunted Realm if they're within a terrain feature. So all those bonuses are negated, then they get -2. Really good against certain factions. So round 1, I'm saying if you're playing Disciples of Tzeentch, you're going to have a slightly harder time. Word of Ending. Word of Ending has a cast value of 6. Successfully cast. Pick enemy hero within 12 inches of the caster that's visible to them and roll a dice. If the result is more than the number of wounds allocated to that model, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. So it's just a damage spell. Just your average damage spell. So if you need to deal with mortal wounds to something because it's very tough and you don't really have too many spells, so like, well, I can cast 2 spells, but only one of them does damage. Suddenly you now have 2 spells that do damage. So if you're trying to win these tournaments, you have to know these spells. It's so good. Being able to suddenly do D3 out of nowhere. When you normally couldn't have done that. Knight's Touch. Cast value of 8. Successfully cast. Pick a friendly unit within 6 that is visible to them. Ignore modifiers. Positive, negative, making save rolls. So it basically gives your turn, whatever unit you have, is similar to a Night Hunt unit. Pretty sweet, right? All that rend your opponent could be doing, not going to happen. So if your opponent has a higher rend army, well, none of that rend's going to matter. Let's see. Soul Shroud. Soul Shroud has a cast value of 6. Since we cast, pick a friendly unit within 12 inches of the caster that is visible to them. That unit is not affected by spells. To your next hero phase. Okay? If you need to shroud a guy because you know a bunch of spells are coming, I'm looking at you, Disciples of Tzeentch, to have a lot of damage spells. Suddenly throw the Soul Shroud on your dragon, and you're not going to get hurt that bad, right? Unnatural Darkness. Unnatural Darkness cast value 6. Pick a friendly unit within 12. That's visible. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target the unit to your next hero phase. Put this on your giant dragon. And then throw it into a blob of Zangors. You know what I'm saying? Or put this on your giant dragon and throw it against a unit of 30. What is that annoying unit that everyone was bringing? Well, there's the Zangor list, 30 Zangors. So Joe Cryer, I'm sorry, man. But I mean, he did get through round 1, so good for him. When you go up against the unit of Sequitors, really good. Grimghast Reapers. So all the Grimghast Reapers that you threw your dragon into are going to get -1 attacks. I think that's okay. That's okay, right? Is that okay? Maybe. Maybe it's okay. So, what's next? Soulflay. Cast value 7. If it's successful, pick an enemy hero within 12. That's visible. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, if the unit suffers 3 mortal wounds from this spell, subtract 2 from its bravery. That's so good. Excuse me. So, if you have 2 different wizards that can cast extra spells, -2 bravery. Pick an enemy hero, -2 bravery. It's so good. And then you just sit there and you do your anti-bravery range attacks. So good. Ethereal Guide. Cast value of 6. Successfully cast. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by the caster until your next hero phase. That's cool. Okay. So, obviously, you're going to want to do that for each round, and then you can better analyze. Now, if you're trying to analyze a certain list, right? So, let's go to... we want to know what everybody did in every other round, right? So, here it is. So, what you do is you open up LVO, AOS Champions, right? You look at the lists. Now, if you're subscribed to it and you're paying money, you're going to be looking at the different lists, right? So, and what they did every turn. You can follow what a player did every turn. You can see every round what Bill Sousa played against. So you can see that he played against Stormcast Eternals 3 times. So you can see every round that he did that in. And then you can analyze what did he do against that other list in that tournament. So that's how you're going to do that. So you're going to have your own little brackets. If you want to see what Joe Krieg did, Joe Krieg was playing Disciples of Tzeentch, okay? So I had somebody say, Joe Cryer, who's Joe Krieg? Did he just spell it wrong? Anyways, Disciples of Tzeentch, if you're playing, say if you're Joe Krieg, round 1, round 2, and 3, you can see what the Disciples of Tzeentch player did every round against his opponents, or what he could have done. So obviously we wouldn't have known unless we were there to watch it or to experience it. But, you know, analyzation is the best we can do, you know, when we're not actually there. So that's how you would do that. And then every round, you just read through these. So we already did the first round. The second round, in the realm of fire, has no effect on the battle. A model cannot see another model if a straight line drawn from the center of its base to the center of the other model passes across a terrain feature other than open ground or hills. So shooting armies, you're not going to be able to see through scenery. So if there's a few trees in the way and you would normally be able to see them, they cannot see because there's a piece of scenery in the way. So if you have a shooty army, obviously you're not going to do so well. If you're playing Skyfires, suddenly your Skyfires aren't going to have the best field of vision as they normally would. Every step a league. If a run roll is 6+ or a charge roll is 10+, then you can either say that unit will not run or charge after all. Or you can move that unit, but it suffers D3 mortal wounds immediately after the move is completed. So if you run at a 6+, or if you charge at a 10+, that's going to hurt you. So the Flesh Eater Court list has the cogs, right? +2 to their charge rolls. It's going to make your charge of 10+ a lot more likely. So you're going to suffer D3 mortal wounds, right? You can also choose not to do that. So you have to be very mindful. So in this realm, maybe you want to use the wizard side of the cogs. That way your wizards get a bonus instead of you getting charge bonuses. You know, it depends. It depends on what you need and how the battle takes place. So a good player is able to maneuver through all these with the minimal effects, negative effects, while getting all the positive effects, right? So guys, I do want to thank you for watching, or whatever, I don't give a fuck, you goddamn bums.